Chapter 11. You are mad, Dorian. At 9 o'clock the next morning, his servant came in with a cup of chocolate. Dorian was sleeping quite peacefully, lying on his right side. He looked like a boy who had been tired out with play or study. The man had to touch him twice on the shoulder before he woke. When he opened his eyes, a smile passed across his lips, as though he had been lost in some delightful dream. Yet he had not dreamed at all. His night had been untroubled by any images. But youth smiles without any reason. It is one of its chiefest charms. He turned round, began to drink his chocolate. The November sun came into the room. The sky was bright, and the air was rather warm. It was almost like a morning in May. Then he remembered what had happened last night. For a moment the same curious feeling of hatred for Basil Hallward came back to him, and he grew cold. The dead man was still sitting there, too, and in the sunlight now. How horrible that was! Such dreadful things belong to the darkness, not for the day. He had to do something. Half an hour later he got up in a hurry, dressed, and got down for breakfast. After he had drunk his cup of black coffee, he wrote 2 letters. One he put in his pocket, the other he gave to his man. "Take this to 152 Hertford Street, Francis, and if Mr. Campbell is out of town, get his address." As soon as he was alone, he lit a cigarette and began drawing on a piece of paper, drawing first flowers and then human faces. Suddenly he saw that every face had a fantastic likeness to Basil Hallward. He got angry and getting up, went over to the bookcase and took out a book. He decided not to think about what had happened until it became absolutely necessary that he should do so. He started reading it, but after a time the book fell from his hand. He grew nervous, and terror came over him. Perhaps Alan Campbell is out of England. Perhaps he would refuse to come. What could he do then? Every moment was of great importance. They had been great friends 5 years ago. Then their friendship came suddenly to an end. When they met now, it was only Dorian Gray who smiled. Alan Campbell never did. He was an extremely clever young man. He loved science. At Cambridge he spent a great deal of his time working in the laboratory. He was devoted to the study of chemistry, and had a laboratory of his own, in which he used to shut himself up all day long. He was a talented musician, and played both the violin and the piano. In fact, it was music that had first brought him and Dorian Gray together. For 18 months their friendship lasted. To him, as to many others, Dorian Gray was the type of everything that is wonderful in life. Whether or not a quarrel had taken place between them, no one ever knew. But suddenly people noticed that they didn't speak when they met. Campbell always went away early from any party at which Dorian Gray was present. He had changed, too. He was strangely melancholy at times. He almost disliked hearing music, and never played himself. Every day he became more interested in biology, and his name appeared once or twice in some of the scientific magazines. This was the man Dorian Gray was waiting for. Every second he kept looking at the clock. As the minutes went by, he became very nervous. At last he got up and began to go up and down the room, looking like a beautiful caged thing. His hands were as cold as ice. Each minute seemed an hour for Dorian. At last the door opened, and his servant came in. "Mr. Campbell, sir," said the man. The color came back to Dorian's cheeks. "Ask him to come in at once, Francis." He felt that he was himself again. In a few moments, Alan Campbell walked in, looking rather pale. "Alan, this is kind of you. I thank you for coming." "I had decided never to come into your house again, Gray, but you said it was a matter of life and death." His voice was hard and cold. "Yes, it is a matter of life and death, Alan, and to more than one person. Sit down." Campbell took a chair by the table, and Dorian sat opposite to him. The two men's eyes met. In Dorian's there was infinite pity. He knew that what he was going to do was dreadful. After a moment of silence, he said, very quietly, but watching the effect of each word upon the face of Alan, "Listen, in a locked room at the top of this house, a dead man is seated at a table. He has been dead 10 hours now. Don't move, and don't look at me like that. Who the man is, why he died, how he died, I won't tell you. What you have to do is this." "Stop, Gray. I don't want to know anything further. Whether what you have told me is true or not true doesn't matter. I'm not going to come into your life. Keep your horrible secrets to yourself. They don't interest me any more." "Alan, they will have to interest you. This one will have to interest you. I am awfully sorry for you, Alan, but I can't help myself. You are the one man who is able to save me. Alan, you are scientific. You know about chemistry and things of that kind. You have made experiments. What you have got to do is destroy the thing that is upstairs, to destroy it completely. Nobody saw this person come into the house. Indeed, at the present moment, he is supposed to be in Paris. He will not be missed for months. You, Alan, you must change him, and everything that belongs to him, into a handful of ashes." "You are mad, Dorian." "Ah, I was waiting for you to call me Dorian." "You are mad, I tell you. Mad to imagine that I would help you. Mad to make this monstrous deed. I will have nothing to do with this matter, whatever it is." "He killed himself, Alan." "I am glad of that, but who drove him to it? You, I think." "Do you still refuse to do this for me?" "Of course I refuse. I will have absolutely nothing to do with it. I don't care what shame comes on you. You have come to the wrong man. Go to some of your friends. Don't come to me." "Alan, it was murder. I killed him. You don't know what he had made. Whatever my life is, he had more to do with the making of it than poor Harry has had. Perhaps he didn't want it. The result was the same." "Murder? Good God, Dorian! Is that what you have come to? I shall not inform upon you. It is not my business. I hope you will be arrested soon. Nobody ever commits a crime without doing something stupid. But I will have nothing to do with it." "You must have something to do with it. Wait a moment. Listen to me. Only listen, Alan. All I ask of you is to perform a scientific experiment. You go to hospitals and dead houses. What I want you to do is what you have often done before. Indeed, I want you to destroy a body, nothing more. And remember, it is the only evidence against me. If it is discovered, I am lost, and it is sure to be discovered unless you help me."